Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Myles.
Come on, let's go for a walk. Well, let's get a coffee first. So, what are you studying? And are you from Nottingham? And you're about to study. What are you about to study?
So originally, I'm from West Bridgeford in Nottingham, 15 minutes down the road. I'm coming to Sutton Bonington to study veterinary medicine and surgery, and I hope to specialise in equine surgery one day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, what attracted you to the University of Nottingham to study? Because it was local, or?
Easy, convenient, and I love the university vibe. Like everyone says it's quite prestigious, there's a lot of history, and I think that's what drew me to it.
Yeah, so tell me a bit about your background then. So you're, how old are you?
I'm 19.
19, and when did you come out? And
I was 16.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of years now.
Yeah, and how was that? How was the coming out process for you?
I'm very privileged in that my parents were fine and very accepting, but I do have a lot of diverse history. So like I come from an Indian family on my dad's side. My dad's mother is also Catholic.
Oh, right.
So it's not very easy coming out as a Hindu and a Catholic.
No, but they were supportive then.
They were very supportive in the end, which was the one thing we were worried about.
Yeah.
So my mum's sister is actually a lesbian.
Oh, okay.
So luckily it's very much more accepted in my mum's side of the family.
So you had a good old auntie to steer the ship for a bit.
Exactly. But in terms of on my dad's side, like it was never really spoken about. Like no one in our family was gay that we knew of or LGBT, do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I don't really like labels. Like I just think it should be like, you're either, this is how I say it, you're either fruity or you're straight. You know what I mean? Like fruity just takes, a lot of people like find it hard to come to terms with who they are. And I think if there's less pressure on it and you're just fruity, like people like, it's more fun and it's more playful and people are less judgmental because you just are who you are and I don't judge people for it. I think like my parents must have always knew, but it's like, it was just, they were happy with who I was until I wanted to say otherwise kind of thing.
And you were ready to come out, were you?
I was ready.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was very ready, like 16, you know what you are, you know what you like. And I was just like, Mum, Dad, like, I like both, like, we'll see what happens, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's more of a journey to come on. And I definitely think it's never done. Even though some people think when you come to terms with who you are, it's just defined straight away.
And that's it for the rest of your life.
But it changes. Having my auntie out was definitely a help, but I never spoke to her about it before. Like, they're just crazy. Like when I came out, my aunties, the both of them, because she's got a partner, married and everything, she was like, welcome to the LGBT, but I was just a bit like, I'm very accepting of who I am. There's nothing wrong with it, but like I don't have to push it in people's faces with the rainbow and stuff. I think that's very like stereotypical, and there's a lot of stereotypes within being in the LGBT community, and that's one thing I'm trying to like maybe change like people's perspectives. Like I think you shouldn't have to have rainbows and be very camp or anything to be in the LGBT. But I think that's one thing I really want to emphasize. I'm very proud of like how far it's come. Like obviously 100 years ago it would have been a very different story, even 50 years ago, even 40 years ago, do you know what I mean? But I just think we don't need like something to make us feel proud. Like we should feel proud ourselves. Like it's just an addition to make us feel even better. Like to show the progression of people coming out and stuff. But I think like you should be proud of who you are anyway without a flag. You know what I mean? I'm very proud of it. Like don't get me wrong, but I just think it's very stereotyped.
What's your perception of Pride now and where it's come from and the history of Pride?
Well, I think it's very interesting nowadays because a lot of straight people go to Pride and I'm really for that. Like I don't think it should just be just for people who are LGBT, it should be the allies as well and everyone. Like I think it should be all inclusive and it should, I'm very much of a person that I think nowadays I don't see you're straight, you're gay or anything. Like we should just all be together, do you know what I mean? Like so my mum used to tell me like about my auntie going to Pride and like there'd still be hate crimes and it's very different to nowadays. Because obviously in Nottingham we have a massive Pride and it's the police are always there looking out for everyone, so I really rate that and I think that's how it should be done. Like but at the end of the day there shouldn't have to be police there because
there is with any sort of large crowd when people dominate the city. So,
but it's good that people can feel safe.
Yeah.
So like with going on TV and stuff, like that's one thing I really wanted to represent. Like I've had a lot of DMs from like younger people saying like, you're a role model, like how can you give me advice on coming out?
Yeah.
Can you give me advice on how to deal with just in general bullies or anything? Like I've never been bullied, I'm very privileged for that. I'm very privileged to have a very easy coming out story compared to other people, but I acknowledge my privileges, do you know what I mean? I don't take it for granted. And if they didn't take me for who I was, like, they're not my family, do you know what I mean? But I'm very grateful they are. All my friends have accepted me, all my family did, but at the end of the day, I am who I am, and if you don't like me, cool, do you know what I mean?
Feisty and fruity.
Exactly. So my end goal is like, I want to be a TV vet.
Oh, okay.
So like, I want to be able to like, maybe include my LGBT like roots into like...
And is it important for that to be a focus, or is it just like a casual sort of...
I think if I focus it too much though, like, it takes away from just me being me. Like I want to maybe like include it in part of it, but I don't want to just focus on me being only LGBT. There's a lot more to me. I'm Myles, I'm going to do veterinary, I've got a lot to me, I've got a personality, like I'm chatty, I'm bubbly, like, and I'm LGBT.
Yeah.
That's how I want to emphasize it. Like I'm very proud of who I am, but it's not who I am, it's not all I am. I'm a lot more than just that. And I want people to be able to see I can be LGBT, I can be maybe different to other LGBT people. And I want to emphasize that within my like TV, within my social media. And yeah, I have had a lot of younger people approach me about situations, and I feel very like lucky I can give them advice.
Is there anything within the veterinary sort of sector that you think, actually, there's not much queer representation or LGBT representation or anybody like me in there that I could just go in and smash it and go, yep, you like animals, you like doing medicine, come on board and follow me?
So it's very highly female dominated. I'm used to going into female dominated industries. I've got a lot of female friends, like I go out with a lot of girls, like it's... And I do think, like, going into a female-dominated industry in terms of veterinary medicine, I can be that male that's different. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of... The males that go into veterinary aren't very LGBT represented. So I think it is definitely something I'm interested in, especially within horse riding. So, like, I horse ride, I'm joining the polo team at uni, and it's very underrepresented in that. But there is a polo like LGBT part, and I'm very excited to join that.
Oh, good.
Definitely.
Good. So there is, so there's some element of it that you think, oh, actually, I can bring some role model or some representation to the veterinary school.
Well, being a male, even in horse riding, is definitely like people think you're LGBT straight away because it's very underrepresented by males in general. But the polo teams are very inclusive, so there are a couple of gay people on the team already. And I think there's, my friend said there's actually a relationship within the team, which is lovely to hear.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Oh, like the Strictly Curse.
Yeah. I'd be just like, if someone says, hi, who are you? I'm Myles, you know what I mean? I'm Myles. I don't need to really explain myself to people. Like, I can just say, yeah, I'm part of the LGBT community, but I don't think, like, if you meet a straight person, they will be like, I'm John and I'm straight. Like, that's not how it works. I don't feel like it should be any different for someone who is part of the LGBT community.
Yeah.
But like, if someone asks, I'm very happily say, I'm part of the LGBT community. I'm learning what I am, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of who I am, but I don't think I need to like say it to people as soon as I meet you, like, because that takes away from being inclusive. Do you know what I mean? Like, surely being inclusive is not asking until you just have a conversation about it, until it pops up. Because I wouldn't go, as soon as I meet someone, are you straight? Do you know what I mean? I just think that's very anti-backwards, surely.
Kind of, but the where it's come from is obviously, you know, heterosexuals don't have to identify or come out as that. So it's always like a thing of like, you know, when there's a Pride Month or something, it's, you know, you always hear people like heterosexuals say, well, what about straight pride? And it's like, well, you've never had to fight for your existence, so therefore, you know, that just comes intrinsically, automatically. So it's great that this, you know, that's the way that it eventually probably will be, where we don't have to come out, we don't have to identify. But I think it comes from a place where there's been struggle to get there. It's great that that would be the sort of end goal where we don't have to do that. That would be absolutely wonderful.
I agree.
But so the stereotypes. So are there any within the community or any that you see or come across on a day-to-day basis that you are either weary of, or I mean, because some people do, you know, you do kind of like sometimes go into like an automatic mode of like, hey girl, you know, kind of like if you know, depending on your crowd of people. I'm from a theatre background, so it's very much lovey-dovey.
Theatrical.
Yeah. So, so are there any like within the community you think actually this doesn't represent, or this is quite has a bad rep for the community, or
So as you said, there's like definitely some negative stereotypes within being like in the LGBT, especially for men. I think it's a lot different for men because like I think LGBT girls are kind of sexualized and fetishized, which is actually a massive issue.
Yeah.
And like I've spoken to I have a lot of bi friends, and it's a lot more accepted for girls to be bisexual than boys.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one thing like I want to break the stereotype about like just because you can be camp but you can also like a girl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's one thing I think you should be breaking these stereotypes. And just because you are camp doesn't necessarily mean you're gay.
No.
And that's very, very wrong mindset. But that's how I think we've been brought up to think that. And I think it's about teaching people, making them aware, and like maybe changing their thoughts eventually one day. Obviously, with the older generation, it's probably a lot more difficult to change their perceptions because they've had this view in life for so long. It would take a lot more long time, but with these new generations that are up and coming, I think the views are going to shift completely.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can see that already, and it is kind of So let's go back a little bit to your coming out, your story. So basically, what age were you? You were 16, you said?
16.
And how did it manifest? What was why that time? Why then? Why? And what did you say? How was it that it came about?
So like I had a friend going through a very similar thing at a similar time, and I think like it was very easy because we both did it together, and like he was a friend from school, he was lovely, we were like egging each other on, come on, let's do it, let's finally do it, do you know what I mean? And I'm very open with my family, like I tell them anything, and like to have that secret for 16 years is very like tough. A lot of times you think, wow, that person's good looking, but then is it like they're good looking because you fancy them, or is it good looking because you want to be them? Yeah. And as a kid, I'm assuming everyone thought they wanted to be like that person. So I went downstairs, I spoke to my parents, and they're like, yeah, cool, we love you no matter what. And I take that for granted, exactly. And I know not everyone's had such an easy coming out story, so I don't want to take it away, like, because I know how lucky I am that I had that.
But it's your story, and it's
exactly.
It's a story to tell, and it's a story to be proud of.
Yeah, 100%. But then I didn't tell my grandparents. No. So my grandma was Catholic, Irish, and then my granddad was a Hindu as well. But I posted this TikTok, and I was like, POV, your dad's just told your Catholic grandma and your Hindu granddad that you've got a boyfriend, because at the time I did. And it blew up, and like all the Hindus were commenting saying like, we love you no matter what. Like Hindus are very accepting of the LGBT because their gods are very fluid, and a lot of them are LGBT, and like the Hindu community are amazing. It's always been like that, but people don't understand you can be religious and an ally as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think we should emphasize that anyone can do that, and even if you have a religion that isn't LGBT accepting, you can still be accepting. Yeah. And I just think I don't know, like they're told to love everyone for who they are, but then they're told not to love certain people, so it's very backwards. A bit
contradictory.
But I think like you can perceive religion how you want to perceive it. Yeah. Like you can take all the goods from religion, you can take the morals, you can take how to treat your neighbours and etc. But you can also adapt it to what you want. So you could be like, love everyone, no matter what. Yeah. You could perceive that to be very LGBT friendly. Yeah. And I know I've been very lucky with my upbringing and coming out story, but I think like maybe if I show people within my social media and when I'm on TV, like if I can show people, look, I know I've been lucky. I don't want to take it for granted because they could have a hard story, but I just think we should create more charities to like help people come out. And in terms of university, I know Nottingham does a lot to help, and I think we should just grow that even more.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely interested in coming on the team and helping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, good stuff. Did your friend have a similar experience, and did he come out?
Yeah,
or they come out at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and it was all very much
all
the same.
very good, and we come from very similar families. Yeah, so very accepting.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's really nice to hear.
So I definitely think it's very difficult being part of the LGBT community and trying to make friends within the LGBT community, especially with men. Like, it's very sexualized, and every single friend that I've had who is LGBT and is a lad, it's never been just a friend, and they've always tried to move to me, and I want to like encourage that we can just be friends with people, and just because you're part of a community doesn't mean that you can't make friends very easily within that.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of lesbian friends, I'm very accepting of everyone, and I think we should be able to come together, share experiences, relate without being sexualized, and it's very over-sexualized as a community, and hookup culture and everything, that's something I don't dabble in.
No.
But I know a lot of my friends, like, it's dangerous, and people that are hidden as well in the community will just go and sleep around because they don't know what they want.
Yeah.
But I think if there's more awareness and stuff, they can come to terms with themselves without just being in that kind of...
I mean, that's the way that the sort of the world has moved to. So Tinder is like, I don't know anybody in the last 10 years that has met their partner in a bar or in a restaurant or something. It's always been, oh, have you met online? And it always used to be that sort of cliche, that like, oh yeah, we met on an app. But now it's kind of like, we met on an app.
Yeah,
and
and
now
they're
we're
proud
married.
of it. Good.
So it's kind of the whole,
be.
but that's not just for the the LGBT community. That's just the way that we've gone in this digital world.
I just want to emphasize that we are who we are, and I think everyone should love us for who we are. And if anyone ever needs to speak to people, there's a lot of charities, there's a lot of awareness nowadays, and I think people who are struggling to come out or to know what they are, there's a lot of charities that they can use, and especially with Uni of Notts, and the people who are watching this are probably students of University of Nottingham. I want them to know that there's people who will love them for who they are, and there's people out there to help, and that's it.
So Myles, thank you very much for taking the time out to come on campus, even though you're not here. Really appreciate it.
Give me a month and I'll be here.
Well,
exactly.
And then I'd be interested actually to like pick this up before you end your studies and just see if any of your
let's do another one.
Changed and how your experience has probably changed your perception, and if there's anything
let's
sort of like
do it.
I'm up for that, so let's book that in. Hope you enjoyed your iced water in this icy cold day. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And all the best with your studies and your campus.
Thank you.